Hello, 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 beautiful beings of light. Welcome. I'm going to wait a few breaths so that people can join. Hi, Robin. So good to see you. Welcome to day 2. Hi, Carrie. Really excited to be here with you for day 2. So this morning when I woke up in Australia, I realized that I set the automation to send out a day later than I intended. So you all received the email a little bit late in your day, depending on where you are in the world. So I'm sorry about that. I didn't give you as much time with the materials, but you can sit with it when you get a chance, if you didn't have a chance to do the meditation in the workbook. Oh yeah, my pleasure, Robin. Yeah, I hope to see you guys in the community. So I sent everyone a gift yesterday. You can be a member of my community that's going to be paid down the line, but you can join now for free. Hi, Priscilla. Welcome, everyone. Okay, let's get started, and more people will stream in as we go. So welcome to day 2 of Embody and Receive. Today, we are going to be diving into how to heal the receiving wound. And really, this is just something that I really dubbed the receiving wound because it was the main thing that I was finding myself working with women as they were growing their businesses. It was not really a matter of their strategy or their marketing or any of that. It was really a matter of healing and expanding into receiving more. And it's not so much about just receiving clients and money, although that's definitely a huge piece of it, but it's about also our life being more pleasurable and easeful, and that the programming of having to be in the hard, having to be in the push, which is such a collective nervous system response that we have, was really preventing people from shifting into receiving more and receiving in the way that they really wanted to in their business. And that's where the strategy and the marketing then started to align with the receiving paradigm that people really want for themselves. So we're going to be talking about healing the receiving wound today. And it really, yesterday was really providing you the framework of the nervous system and how I think about business growth through your nervous system. And today we are going to be anchoring it in within the context of receiving and what needs to shift in your nervous system in order to receive more, as well as receive more fully in your pleasure and your ease. So we're going to be talking about the nervous system response, but then we're also just going to be really talking about how to shift your paradigm, how to shift into a new paradigm. And that's definitely around like what needs to happen in your body for that to happen. And for you to also consider like, what receiving paradigm am I in right now? What rules do I have around my receiving? Right? Because in each paradigm that we operate in, and we all have a paradigm that we're in, there are certain rules and attitudes that we have about how we get to receive or what's available to us. And in order for us to shift into something different, we have to invite in the possibility of a different kind of receiving paradigm. And what would that receiving paradigm look like and feel like for us? So the meditation that you received today was all about helping your body just feel what it's like to receive. And for some of you, maybe this meditation was super easeful. For others, you might have felt constriction or anxiety showing up, and that's okay. It's meant to bring things up in you, and it's meant to help you actually sit with those things and help you release those things and help you feel like what it's like to actually lean back and receive. We don't allow it to feel good And that's like the biggest thing that we are shifting when we are healing the receiving wound, is allowing it to feel good. Your business gets to feel good, receiving money gets to feel good, your clients get to feel good, every part of your life actually gets to feel good. So that's really what we're diving into today. So really briefly, if you're here, if you don't know who I am, if you're watching the replay and you don't know who I am, my name is Anna Kinkela, and I am a somatic business and leadership coach. I'm also an energetic alchemist, and I work with entrepreneurs, with coaches, with healers, with creatives to help them grow their business in resonance with their nervous system, and to help them heal the receiving wound and just receive more in their life and in their business. So I have my little computer here on the side. So if you see me glancing there, that's what I'm looking at. And just like yesterday, what I want to invite you into is grabbing a pen and paper, having that ready. I'm going to be sharing a lot of information. And just like yesterday, I'm going to have a separate Q&A time for you to ask me all the questions. I love interacting with all of you, and I love getting to all of your questions. Hi, Charlene. Thanks for joining. Hi, Kara. And so I love getting to all of your questions. Like, the interaction and the questions are actually what help to deepen the material as well. And so I'm saving that till the end because it'll help me actually anchor into the question fully. So just write down your questions as we move through the information, and then we can dive really deep into them after I finish all of the informational components. So we are going to talk about all the information at the beginning, and then I will tell you about my mastermind, and then we will shift into the Q&A. So that's kind of the grand overview of our time together today. So let's talk about the receiving paradigm. So when we talk about healing the receiving wound, we're not just only talking about how much we receive. We are also talking about how we receive, right? And so there's a ton of programs in the business world and the coaching world that are targeting how much you receive in terms of clients and money, right? And what we're talking about here is not just quantity, but it's also quality, right? Because not everyone actually wants to make $1 million. Some people do. Like, I am on a trajectory. I am working towards, shifting into 7 figures. And that is because that's what feels good in my body. That's what my desire is. But that's not the truth for everyone. And so really this is about, coming into connection with what is my true desire for my business? How do I want to impact others, and how do I want to receive in my life? And that is something that is individual to you and your desires. So more is not necessarily better. More is only good if it truly resonates at the vibration of your specific soul desires. So it's really important for you to first claim, what is my desire for my impact and my level of receiving in my own business? And sometimes what I see happening for entrepreneurs, especially if they're coming from this hustle grind culture, it's always more, that it just becomes the goal that we chase instead of it having real connection within ourselves and within our lives, right? And so you can have as much as you want. This isn't about putting a cap on it, but this is about you coming into genuine and deep relationship with how do you desire to receive? What do you desire to receive, and claiming that. And one of the places where I see people not co-creating is that they're not fully claiming what they want. They're not fully clarifying that. So it's important for you to be in relationship with your own desire. And so a lot of what we're going to be talking about is actually being in connection with your womb space. And, even if you don't have a womb space, we have womb consciousness. So this is even something, everyone can connect with. Men, non-binary folks, however you identify, this is about womb consciousness, right? And this is the space in our body where we actually get to receive, where we get to experience receiving. And the reason why I talk about the womb so much is because this is a space where our desire rests. This is also, if you notice in the meditations that I give to you, I'm actually prompting you to enter into your limitlessness through the cosmic egg, which is located within your womb space. And so it's an entryway into the limitlessness that's within us, right? And when we are operating from the energy of our limitlessness, then we see the possibility. We believe in ourselves at a whole different level. We start to take risks at a different level. And the more that we can actually connect that space internally in our body, we're able to start to kind of shift that dynamic of co-creating from this like heady space or from this like disconnected space in the spiritual realm. Right? A lot of the times I see like this disconnection, especially with spiritual folks, where we're up here so much, but we don't actually know how to be down here. Right? And so that's true both for people sometimes who are super spiritual and live kind of in this quantum space, and also people, I think just like culturally, we are people who exist here in our heads. And healing the receiving wound within ourselves is actually healing our relationship with our bodies, healing the trust that we have within ourselves to receive within our body itself. It's the blueprint for everything else. It's an energetic blueprint, right? And so if you think about even how you receive in your relationship, the dynamics of that, the energetics of that, generally speaking, that receiving paradigm, that energetic paradigm is replicating itself in money and in clients. Not always. Like sometimes people's relationships feel really good and maybe it's just a paradigm they're working on shifting into in their business or vice versa. But there are patterns that repeat themselves, right? And so this is where we're going to get into the nervous system, and I'm going to pull on some of the information I was talking about yesterday. So really, like, for us to heal our receiving wounds, it's actually like really simple, but also complex, because our culture is not set up to help us heal in this way and to help us tap into this part of ourselves. So the way we heal our receiving wound is actually for us to allow our bodies to lead our decisions and to really listen radically to our bodies. That's really it. Because when we do that, we are reprogramming us leading our desire or pushing from this space, and we are asking our body for our deeper truth. Where is the expansion in my body? Where am I feeling it? And this goes through, I had a client actually, and I freaking loved this. I love this. She said, my huge win is that I am now asking my womb space about everything. Do you like this? Do you like that? What are we going to eat today? How does that feel? And actually radically listening to that space and giving it what it wants. And how much do we actually restrict ourselves? We restrict what we eat because of diet culture. We restrict how we move and in which ways we move because we have to get that exercise in or like do 60 minutes of cardio or whatever. There's so many different ways where we actually deny our body what it really wants to receive. And this very primal relationship that we have with our body, whatever we're restricting here within ourselves, is replicating itself in different ways in our life that we don't even consciously know or tap into until we start to bring awareness to those tendrils, right? And so if you want to really rewire your relationship with receiving, this is the foundation of it. This is where I return to all the time. This is how I make all of my decisions in my business. It's my blueprint. And your capacity to receive at bigger and bigger levels is about you being able to surrender and let go to actually listening to this part of you. Because we distrust our body so much. We are conditioned into it. Everything that we are taught in our families, like as it relates to consent, as it relates to, we could just like name all of the things in our culture that disconnect our like head from the wisdom of our bodies. We lead with our head in everything. And it takes us rewiring it all the time, and it takes us letting go and surrendering. We all have control paradigms. And control comes from the ego, and the ego's not bad. I just want to clarify that. The ego is there to protect us, but there are parts of us that are holding on so tight that don't allow us to fully open and receive when it's actually safe for us to receive. Right? There's a healthy expression of ego control, and then there's an expression of ego control that is exaggerated because of things that we've experienced in our life, because of trauma that we've had in our life. And we're going to talk about that. But it's about like really fully trusting that you are safe to receive. And the way that you build that trust is by building the muscle of that in your body and your trust with your body. So a really simple practice for you is to make decisions from your womb space about everything. Start with the small things, move on to bigger and bigger things, and take bigger and bigger leaps in that trust. Like, what does it feel like to hold this in my womb space if I went this way in this direction? What does it feel like to hold it in my womb space in that direction? Where is the expansion? Yeah? So that's like a very basic way to just start. So I want to talk about imprints in the nervous system with receiving. So yesterday we talked about those imprints. So your nervous system has all sorts of different imprints. It has imprints of past self, present self, future self. It has soul imprints, right? And it's up to us to discern what energy is being activated within us, what imprint is operating right now. When you have the awareness of what's operating, you can shift out of it and rewire it, create a different imprint, right? So this is, of course, like your first place of power is your awareness, and allowing that awareness to actually lead you into a different feeling state in your body. And like I said yesterday, your felt sense is what creates change. Your felt sense in your body, when you feel something in your body, you believe it. If you think about anxiety, right? Like, if you're anxious, you absolutely believe that you're not safe, that things are falling apart. And if you just feel something different in your body, all of a sudden you start to believe in the possibility. Your whole perspective shifts, right? So if we can shift our felt sense and just tap into that expansive feeling for one moment, then for 5 minutes, then for 20, and we build that capacity more and more and more, we actually shift our capacity to then feel good more and more and more, right? It's a simple rewiring process that is simple and also difficult in the moment when you start, because it's easy for us to get hooked into our pain. It's easy for us to get hooked into our old programming because it feels safe for us in our bodies already, right? What we are doing in our lives right now, it might not be working for us fully, but we know what it feels like. There's safety because we can predict it. And, when it comes to our ego, we like to be able to predict things because it means we can control them. The part that's scary about letting go and shifting into a different paradigm is that you don't know what that paradigm looks like yet, right? You don't know how to control yet in that paradigm. It doesn't feel safe in your system yet. So when you're rewiring, when you're repatterning, it's just about turning more and more into finding safety in this new paradigm, in this new feeling. And we're going to talk about the block that I see for people letting it feel good. We're going to talk about that piece. So in terms of the imprints in your nervous system, we have all of these different types of imprints, and we're becoming more aware. The more we attune to our body and our nervous system, we're just becoming aware. It's data. We understand, this is my past, like, inner child self that's coming up here. And this is my expansive future self that's telling me there's a different way, there's a different direction. And so the imprints from our past, I like to also include, it's not just our past experiences, it's also past lives, it's ancestors. It's the things that we've inherited in our body through our DNA that we're not even conscious of, that is operating unconsciously underneath the surface, right? We run our business through our body, whether we recognize it or not. we run our business through the lens of our traumatic experiences, known or unknown, whether we are conscious of it or not. It's just something that's operating in our energetic field, which is why healing and business go hand in hand for me. Not only because we're here to create a different kind of world that's not based in the oppressive systems that we have all grown up in, but also because you get to liberate yourself. You get to unleash yourself in a completely different way in this way, right? So it's so intertwined with you actualizing your desires. And so yesterday I talked about, we have capital T traumas and lower T traumas. One is not more important than the other. It's just the capital T traumas or bigger traumas in our life. So like car accidents, sexual assaults, death of parents or loved ones, right? And then we have lower T traumas, which might be maybe our caretakers not meeting our needs, or not being seen, right, by our parents in a way that our inner child really wanted to be seen. And so all of these capital T and big T traumas contribute to us building up walls to receiving. Because at one point, we didn't receive what we really needed to receive, right? And so I think about, it's more about relational trauma, like when we are in relationship with someone else and maybe we get rejected or we feel unloved or we don't feel like we're being met in some way or someone is hurting us, right? That the ego system within us that's there to protect us comes up with these different ways of managing that threat in the future, right? And so I really like to talk about our ego. It's just protection. It's not like an evil part of us. It's just doing what it knows to do in order to keep us safe. And it's actually kind of trapped us in this little time bubble unconsciously. We're kind of replaying that same loop over and over again in our interactions with people, right? So it's really about us acknowledging when that's happening and then like really telling our inner children, like, it's safe, it's okay, we're not there anymore. We can actually cope with rejection now. We can actually cope with someone not loving us because of who we are. Like, it's safe to be who we are. And so it's a lot of, like, there's this piece of reparenting ourselves, right? And that is something that I help people do within the context of my healing containers. But really, my whole intention within any healing is that we start to feel safe in the expansion. And this is one piece that I think is really important to talk about when we talk about receiving, is we have this like collective nervous system of being in pain and struggle, of being in hustle and like working really hard. Like there's this whole like narrative around you have to work really hard and then you can make more money. And that's a narrative we all exist in, right? Or that we have existed in. And so our bodies are very accustomed to being in that space. So even people who avoid their shadow are actually really accustomed to like being in pain and struggle. There's some type of like comfort in our nervous system with that. And so my thing is like, never ignore your shadow, witness your shadow, but then also let your body feel the possibility of the expansion that happens through you being with your shadow. And I am interested in you prolonging your experience in the body of pleasure and of ease, because that's what rewires it. There is an important part of releasing imprints, but there's an equally important part of imprinting something different, right? If we clear something and there's no programming, then we don't exactly know where we are, right? So it's always imprinting the expansion, and that healing, our shadow, actually gets to happen through our pleasure and our ease, and allowing our nervous system to expand its tolerance within that space. Yeah, because for most women that I work with, it's like really comfortable for them to be in their shadow parts, But when we head into like, oh, what does it feel like to slow down and to just feel the expansion in your body? Can we just sit there? A lot of women pop out of it and they're like, oh yeah, it feels okay. Yeah. And then I'll help to draw them back in. Well, can you describe the sensation to me? And there's so many different ways that we actually avoid that, right? So one of the ways that I see that happening is if you think about even your self-pleasure practice and sex. Like, we are a culture that teaches sex and pleasure from this, like, hurry up and just get to the orgasm, right? Like, there's no, let's be in the pleasure. Let's slow down. Let's like feel what this feels like. Let's be in the experience of it. And we replicate that in our launching. We replicate it in every single area. And we block ourselves from receiving the full breadth of our available experience, right? We short circuit our ability to receive through some of these like ways that we've been taught to be within ourselves. So when we're talking about healing the receiving wound within our business, it's about allowing it to actually be easy. Like, how easy can you allow it to be? How much support can you allow yourself to receive? How much more pleasurable can you let it be? And I see this showing up specifically for women in launching. Oh my gosh, we are taught like turnaround time on launching. Promote this for a week. Launch it for 2 weeks. Get people in through the door. Go, go, go. Just push through it. Just get it done. And pretty much all of the women I work with hate launching. They're like, oh, I just have to survive this. I just have to get through it. But what if it actually felt good to sell? What if it felt good to promote yourself and talk about yourself and talk about how amazing your containers are? And what if it felt good to ask people for money? What if that felt good? What if it felt pleasurable? What if it turned you on? Like, how would that shift your receiving paradigm, your capacity to receive? What, right? Like, that's what we're talking about here, because it's not just about getting clients and money. It's also getting it in a way that you feel good about at your core, that you're like excited about your business, that you're excited about making more money, that you're excited about getting those clients in, because it is your energy that determines that. Like, when you're running your own business, it runs off of your energy until you hire more people, right? And even then, like, you are part of the energy that gets projected onto that business, especially if you're a personal brand. Kind of depends on your business, but for most coaches at least, and healers, that's what it is. So when you have your energy fully behind the clients that you want to receive, claiming it fully, being in your power about it, when you have your energy behind your launch, saying, like, this is going to happen. I'm going to be in my pleasure and my ease. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I'm going to have fun selling, right? That shifts the entire energy of what people receive from you. Yeah? And that's the huge difference that I've seen in my business, is when I actually allowed it to feel good, when I slowed it down, when I listened to my body, when I intuitively tapped into how many clients are meant to be in this container, right? When I started to feel good with money. Like, we're going to talk about getting intimate tomorrow, so we're going to dive deeper into that. But like, how can I make it feel good? How can I shift my relationship to this? Everything is relational. So let's allow ourselves to shift our capacity to receive in all different ways, and let's shift our awareness into our bodies and let that lead the way, right? I'm looking at my notes to see what I'm missing out on here. Okay, I want to talk about support for a moment here. So yesterday we talked a little bit about when receiving, like getting clients, getting money, doing it in a pleasurable, easeful way, it happens through an open nervous system, right? And like, you can definitely get clients in a closed nervous system because it's like that hustle and that chase and like go, 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 get it done. A lot of people make tons of money doing it that way. And that's one paradigm, right? Like, again, there's no right or wrong way. Like, you can receive in lots of different ways. It's just you choosing what paradigm do I want to receive in. And, you know, it's either way, it's fine. You can receive in lots of different ways. People make a lot of money in different business programs. And again, that's not wrong. It's just you are choosing your receiving paradigm. And so, where was I going with this? Yes. Okay. So when we're in an open nervous system state, we get to receive more from this, like, I'm laid back, I'm allowing it, I'm not forcing it, I'm being in my pleasure and my ease, right? I actually feel safe to do that. And this is where, like, this is what, when I work with women who have created a lot of success in their business, made a lot of money through the hustle and, like, the grind and just, like, going, it's like the default safety response in their nervous system is if we stop going, then the bottom is going to drop underneath us. And at some level, regardless of how much money you've made in your business, that is a paradigm that we are existing in. Meaning, if I stop doing and if I actually trust my body, my root is going to drop and I'm going to lose all my clients and all my money. And this is why it's so hard for people to actually let go and to trust fully, right? It's simple, but it's not wired into us. And so we're actually shifting into something that inherently feels unsafe to our root center. And this is where all the unconscious shit comes up. Because I have a very high level container where I work with people who are making 6 figures and we're shifting them into a different nervous system response. And it's like the control on just, like, wanting to make money this certain way because it's worked thus far. And if I let it go, then what is going to happen to me? Am I going to be safe? And safety is a primal instinct in us. This is why building your business through your nervous system is so effective, because we're working with your primal instinct. We are shifting your body into letting a new paradigm feel safe for you, right? This is how you shift your reality, is by shifting your felt sense in the body. It's not through thinking different thoughts. It's through feeling differently and feeling safe there. Yeah? So where I was going with all of this is support. Women and people who are socialized as women have one of the hardest times with receiving support and asking for support. For the most part, if you have been socialized as a woman, and I'm making a really general statement, this might not have been true in your family, and that's amazing, but in general, someone who's been socialized as a woman tends to have caretaker programming and multitasking programming. And I am the person for everyone. I do everything. I'm kind of like the one-stop shop for it all. And it's also very challenging because, if you're a mom as well, like, there's just a reality that your kids rely on you in the very early stages of childhood more so than they do on another partner, right? And so there's all of these ways that it's embedded in our nervous system to actually just, like, do it alone and do it by ourselves. And it's a way that our nervous system is kind of in that fight or flight response of, like, oh, I have to do everything, I have to multitask, I have to, like, learn how to hold it all and, like, be all of it and be successful and have the family and do all the things, all right? And it, like, actually overwhelms the nervous system. And so it's really tough for women to actually accept support. And one of the main things that I work on with women is, how can we help you be supported more? Even them hiring me is like, okay, like, this is big because I'm allowing myself to be supported. And then it's like, how else can we allow you to be supported? And what that programming within our system who doesn't feel safe to receive support is telling us is, like, I don't have money to get support. I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't have time. Like, I can actually do it myself. So why spend the money on it? Like, I can save money. Like, right, all of this, like, stuff that comes up in reaction to it. And I get it. But the truth is like when you actually step into the possibility of what's available, if we step out of that like automatic response that we have to support, that we open up portals of possibility for how we can receive support. And you might actually be surprised how little support costs, or like how you can make it work. I hired my first support person when I was making like $1,000 in my business. Like there was no like pragmatic reason for me to hire that person, but it was, I think I hired her 2 years ago or something, and it completely shifted the way that I showed up in my business, right? It's not just investing in coaches. It's also like, how can I be supported in holding this business, right? And so there are these elements of support that we get to kind of play with and think about, where am I holding all the balls in my business, in my life? What do I feel like I'm having to take care of all the time? Where's this programming coming in for me? And where do I get to ask for just a little more support? Maybe it's once a week. Maybe it's for an hour. I like start small. It doesn't have to be like 30 hours a week. Like it gets to be in small increments, but how do I invite this feeling in? Because when we're supported, we actually open more. We allow ourselves to receive more. Like when we actually like delegate and allow someone to be our support system, like how does that feel in your body? How does it feel to just lean back and let someone take care of it? And that shifts you into a whole different receiving paradigm in and of itself. And so yesterday I talked about how this, it wasn't just like one investment, but like it was this one investment where I like allowed myself to be supported more deeply than I had before. And it just like relaxed my nervous system, where I was like, okay, I actually get to be all of me here. I get to receive so fully in this container. This is like why I have unlimited voice messaging with my clients, because it's like you can come in and talk about your boyfriend, your partner, your kids, you're like crying fit, you get to have a tantrum on this, voice messaging app. Like freaking lay it all out for me. Like show me all parts of yourself. Let me hold it for you. Like I promise I won't run away. I promise I can hold it with you. I promise I don't even have to fix it. I just actually get to hold you here, and it's okay for you to be all of this in one space. And that in and of itself, like when we get to receive support where all of our parts are witnessed, is like, oh, you mean I don't have to like pretend that this is feeling good. I don't have to push through it. I don't have to pretend like I feel good about this or that. Like I don't have to fake it. And, most women are programmed to just like freaking deal with it and just push through. And so like, what would it, and she was the first coach where I could actually like felt safe to show up in all my mess and like cry and like be like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing, like blah, right? And just be a mess. And like, how messy can we allow ourselves to get, and trust that we can be held, we can receive something from another person, even if we're messy. Like these are the relational traumas we all have that get healed through relational dynamics, right? Relationships heal our past. We don't have to like spend so much time figuring out why our childhood was so messed up, or like why this and that happened. We actually just get to be in the relational experience of showing ourselves and being held and allowing ourselves to receive more. Trusting that the other person can hold it. And like maybe if you're like calling your sister, you might want to ask permission and be like, can I unload? But like if you're hiring someone, then like permission to unload at any time, right? Like that gets to be something your nervous system experiences. And then how that translates into your business is like all of a sudden you're out there on your Instagram talking about, like this is something, like you're sharing yourself more, you're showing yourself more, your nervous system is more open, and you're like, I am okay with being rejected. I am okay with being unloved, because ultimately allowing yourself to be seen in all of these different ways, allowing yourself to feel it all, deepens your experience of receiving. If we don't show ourselves, we do not have the opportunity to actually receive. Yeah, and so many people in their business, like this translates to relationships, right? If we don't tell someone what we need, they cannot meet the need. We cannot receive. And it's because we're hiding so much. Like this is the fawn response in the nervous system. It's like, if I just don't tell someone I need this and that I want this, then I won't ever get disappointed, or I won't ever experience failure, or like, you know, I'm afraid of my own success. Like, in other words, what will happen when I actually receive it? Can I handle it? Can I hold it? It's all of these like questions. And when you're supported in this deep level, you can like show yourself and be like, well, this one person held me, and you know what? I feel safe with it. And so what if I just showed more of myself? What if I talked more about my work? What if I talked about how amazing I am? What if I talked about, bragged about, did all of the things on my Instagram or whatever? And all of that is like a personal boundary we all have. Like, I'm not saying share every single detail unless you want to, but like, it's allowing you to feel safe with feeling seen, and then you receive more because people are able to actually like say, oh, I know who you are. I recognize myself in you. Like, I feel you. I feel your energy here. And I want to come into that energy. Yeah? And so this is what this work is all about. Like, it translates into your business in so many seen and unseen ways. And it's why that healing component goes so important in business. I'm so glad it's healing for you, Randy. Yeah, totally. I feel you. I feel you there. So that's, we're going to talk about the relational component tomorrow more. But the piece that I want, like, the meditation today was with money. And one of the things I notice with my clients in particular is they're really uncomfortable talking about money. They avoid money. They avoid facing money. It's no surprise because I have avoidance patterns with money. Like, this is what I heal within myself, and I continue to heal and go further and further in this in my own relationship. But money is such a taboo thing, especially for empaths, intuitives, healers, people really who care deeply, because money is a representation of something evil for most sensitive folks, for most healers, for a lot of coaches that like focus on like doing some type of healing work or like betterment of the world. And we certainly have that like collective imprint of money, of like, look at what greed has done, look at like the bad things money has done. Like, there's so many stories around that. And then there's a lot of restriction around allowing ourselves to actually claim how much money we want and how much money we actually desire to live the kind of life that we want to live. Like, that comes from our fullest possibility. And so I see a lot of women not actually claiming what they want as it relates to money, avoiding the topic of money, and avoiding like focusing on receiving it. They're kind of stuck in the emotional process of it. And that's not true for everyone, but I think it's really important. The reason I use money in this particular meditation is because money actually is a trigger or an activation point for all of our other receiving wounds, because it's such a like, money is safety to us, and money also evokes all of our intimacy wounding. Money, sex, intimacy are interwoven in so many ways. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've had healing sessions with people around money, and we go to an earlier memory where they experience some kind of shame around their sexuality or their pleasure. It's so intertwined. Another reason why I go into the womb space is for people to start to feel safe there, to start to feel safe with their desires. And so it's something that's wired into us. There's so much shame around sex and pleasure, shame around money. It's intertwined, and shame is a very heavy emotion that a lot of people don't feel safe sitting with, because it just like, it's like it takes us down. And so think about, like, where am I scared of claiming what I really want? Where am I avoiding money? Where am I avoiding coming into connection with money? What is my opinion of money? And you will dive into this tomorrow, by the way, so you don't have to do it now, but it's just something to think about. Where do I push money away? Because money in and of itself is not evil. It's just used in different ways, right? And we have the power to shift how we use it, which is why I want to empower healers, coaches, entrepreneurs, all you people doing good out in the world to have more of it, because then we can yield it differently. And it's not the solution for all of our world problems, no, but it is a really great start. It is a part of the puzzle. I'm looking at if I'm missing something. Another question I want you to sit with is, how safe does it feel for me to feel good? And you can do this through actually, like, even observing your self-pleasure practice, or when you're having sex with your partner, like, that's like a really quick way to observe it. But you can also think about, like, how much time, like, how much do I allow myself to sit in, like, the pleasure of eating chocolate? Like, where is my nervous system limit to it feeling good? What I see is, like, when I think I said this before, but when I have people hang out in expansive feelings, at some point their body starts to fidget, they start to get out of it, they start to open their eyes and, like, look around, and it's like, oh, I've reached the nervous system upper limit, right? This is it. And so really observe that within yourself, like, what's my limit here? And how can I allow myself to extend that limit more and more? How can I allow myself to come into relationship with pleasure more and more? Think about how this shows up in your sales, right? Am I the possibilitarian for my clients? This shows up in all different kinds of ways, or, like, capacity to feel good and to let it be good and to let it be easeful, right? And another question is, what are the conditions that you have on your receiving? We have these unwritten rules about what we get to have and when we get to have it. So I get to hire this coach when I get X amount of clients, or when I save money, or I get to buy myself this thing when I work really hard, or I get to have love when I heal all of these things within myself. We have all these conditions on our receiving, and they're paradigms that actually block us from receiving. Well, what if you actually got to have that now? Like, what's to say you can't have it now? Why can't you open up that possibility? How can you create that possibility for yourself? I think where I see people, like, abandoning their business or burning out of their business is they stop existing in the possibility. Like, your business is fueled by your possibility, by your capacity to tap into the possibility and trust. Like, that's it. You will reach exactly where you want to go if you allow yourself to trust and be in the possibility. And this is why I teach the rewiring of into expansion, because the more you can feel that in your body, the more you can feel safe in the expansion in your body, the more you're just going to gain momentum in that. It's like a snowball effect. It's inevitable. And if you don't truly believe that your success isn't, like, if you don't feel that in your body, you can have doubts. Like, we all have doubts. I have doubts every single day. I'm like, oh my God, is this going to happen? Am I going to get here? Right. It's just ego. It's like ego coming up. It's like a little thing. But if I'm anchored into the feeling of my expansion in my body and I trust it, I can always turn towards that and be like, nope, feel it in my body. And I'm building that trust and that expansion more and more every time I rewire. And so, like, it's inevitable that I'm going to get to 7 figures. Like, I'm not tied to when it's going to happen. I'm not, like, hustling for it. I'm not chasing people down trying to get there. I'm just like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to do what I'm doing. I'm going to follow my body. I'm just going to like let it be pleasurable and easeful. And when it happens, it happens. Like it's just inevitable, right? And then you can relax and you can not detach, but you can stop being in the like doing of it, right? And just be in the being. Like I'm hanging out here. I'm having a good time. I'm following my inner guidance and I'm letting it be easy. Like I'm letting myself be in my joy. And when you're in your joy, you're posting from that space. Like it's your energy, right? So there's so much here around that. So what are the conditions that you have when you're receiving? What are the unwritten rules and how do you want to rewrite them? What gets to be true for you now? It's just a matter of choice. Like we really have so much choice in what paradigm we're existing in. We might need some space to reprogram it. Like it's not like, oh, I choose this reality and now it's like showing up the next day. It's like we got to reprogram it in our bodies. But we do get to choose. And a lot of us don't feel connected with our power enough to know that we have the choice. And so where is your choice? Where is your power? We all have our power here. And when we focus on all this stuff happening out here, then we get helpless. But what if you came in and felt your power and saw the possibility? What could be available to you then? Everything is figure-outable. Like, I think that's the title of Marie Forleo's book, which I haven't read, but I do like the phrase figure-outable. Because it really is. Like, everything is figure-outable. I've made a lot of risky decisions in my business over and over again based on my intuition. And I figured it all out. Like, it was fine. Nothing bad happened. I survived. I'm all good. I'm receiving more and more. Like, it's okay. It worked out. It's just that our ego and our body, like, convince us of something different. And so how much can we step out of that, like, conditioning in the body and that contraction, and how much can we lean into the expansion? So those are... That feels complete in terms of what I wanted to share on healing the receiving wound. I'm going to jump on a separate Q&A like I did yesterday. And last time I was on for like 40 minutes for the Q&A. So I just invite you to hop on that call and ask your questions. It can be time for coaching. It can be whatever you want it to be. It's your time. So I'm going to hop on that. I'm going to spend 3 minutes talking about my mastermind container because that is what I'm currently launching. And this is exactly what we do in the mastermind container. So it is a receiving container. It's for 6 months, which gives us a really good chunk of time to do some beautiful rewiring and shifting in your business. It is focused on business, and it is really for people who are 1 or more years into their business. It's more about the energy that you're in versus like how long have you been doing it. And the container is about doing money healing work. We have a money healing quantum experience each month in the group. And then we have 3 group coaching calls, which is really time for you to either do energetic work or get soul strategy for your business. And one of those sessions is a creative coven with all the sisters. So you can bring a project, you can bring whatever you're working on in your business, have masterminding on it, get it clarified, get it solidified. And I'm here to support you with receiving more money, receiving more clients, launching and building your business in pleasure and ease, and doing it in connection with your body and with your nervous system, right? Rewiring yourself into healing and receiving more with more depth. So it's an amazing container. It's one of my favorite containers I lead. I love all of them, but like this one is so powerful and expansive. It's called the Magic Weaver Mastermind because we are magic weaving your life, your business, and it all gets to feel good. So it's a combination of healing and soul strategy. If you want to call it masculine, feminine energy, both are present. We start August 4th, and I'm enrolling for it now. And I am someone who, like, in my body always checks my decisions with what I'm going to invest in my body. And if it's a yes in my body, if it's like feeling expansive and a little scary, I'm always a yes. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll just let her know that I'm in. So if that's you and you already know in your body you're a yes, just send me a message and I'll get you set up. If you're someone that wants to be held in an experience in your body to see what's there, to see if it's in resonance for you. And I definitely want, it needs to be in resonance, it needs to be aligned, it needs to feel exciting, expansive, and also a little scary, which is normal. You can book a call with me through the link in my bio, and we can set up a time to just chat for 30 minutes, help you tune into your body, and see what your truth is. So I'd love to chat with you about it. So go ahead and send me a message or book a call with me directly. And I will see you on the Q&A call in just a moment.